yes, it is the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show. I am B-Man, your producer. Sitting next to me is the great host of this show. She is the gifted. She's the talented. She's the gorgeous. She's a motivator. She's an innovator. She's a trendsetter. She's a mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. Here's my little chocolate chip. Here is Mandy.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show. Yeah. If you would like to listen to us on Blog Talk, please go to blogtalkradio.com/Mandy the Mentor. And as always, you can tune in Facebook Live at Mandy the Mentor. Yeah. We appreciate our listeners on Blog Talk tonight and our live viewers on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for your dedication.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in tonight.
Yeah, so how are you, E-Man?
I am doing absolutely fantabulous tonight. I am back in the building from last week. I haven't seen you or talked to you since last week. How are you doing today?
I am well. I am enjoying the weather.
Yes, it is beautiful out here in Dallas, Texas. We want to thank those of you that's chimed in on Facebook Live. You chimed in on Facebook Live. You're streaming, rather.
Yeah.
Those of you that's on Blog Talk Radio, we can see you already going into the chat room. Well, they was already in the chat room before we even came on the show. So, good evening. How are you this evening?
I am well.
Did you have a busy week this week?
I did I was pulled in a lot of directions this week, but okay. I'm here.
You made it, huh?
I made it, yes. It was that press, we talk about it, we teach about that press.
Right.
Push it through.
And so you pushed through this week, huh?
I did.
Well, that's great.
How about yourself?
I had a real busy week.
You're always busy.
You want to know about my week? My week was it was extremely busy this week. I haven't talked to you or seen you since last year. We had a great show last Sunday night. We talked about church cliches.
We did.
And that was a great show. So since the last I saw you or talked to you, we text quite a bit this week because I was on the go.
Yes.
But since I did see you, I did the Mavericks game on Wednesday night.
Okay.
We played the Pelicans. The Mavericks pulled that game out. It was a late game. It started late because it was on ESPN.
Yeah, I actually saw that. I saw the postings on Facebook.
Yeah, we did that game Wednesday night. And then on Friday, I had a wake to go to. Went to the wake. And after I got out of the wake, a friend called me and said, guess what? I said, what? She said, I have tickets to see Gil Scott. Gil Scott was in Dallas, Texas Friday night at the music.
Is it? Is it Gil, E-Man, or Jill? Which
Scott,
one? You gotta give a girl her props now. We love Jill Scott here in Dallas, Texas.
What is her name?
Jill.
Jill Scott. I went to see her that Friday night at the music hall. She put on a great show.
She a bad girl.
She was off the chain.
Off the chain.
But you know what? I said, hey, she kind of reminded me of Erykah Badu a little bit. She kind of ran.
She did.
Yeah,
I believe that. Jill, she speaks on real topics.
She's living her golden. The whole crowd was singing, living. That was a great show. I hadn't seen her for a while, but I did opportunity to see that. Then Saturday, I had to rush down to Teague, Texas.
Oh yeah.
I went to Teague, Texas Saturday because this church that I'm affiliated with out there. Mm-hmm. Today was the 109th church anniversary.
Oh, that is so great.
Church of God in Christ, St. Paul.
Okay.
Down in Teague, Texas. Hello, St. Paul. Those of you
Shout out to St. Paul, yes. Teague, Texas.
Then I rushed back to Dallas to sit here with you tonight.
Yes. So we're anticipating a great show tonight.
Yeah.
But before we move forward, I just want to send out a special hello to my mentees. On last night, I spent the evening with my mentees, and we had a great time. We had dinner and lots of communication.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Shout out to all my mentees out there.
Hello, mentees. How y'all doing? Welcome to the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show tonight.
Welcome.
Well, we had a blast. I had a blast this week. I was busy, but I'm back tonight. And then, you know what?
What?
I got a text coming in this evening. A friend of mine said, listen, I got some tickets to go see some spoken word tonight.
Oh, that sounds good.
And I said, oh, really? She said, yeah, I bought you a ticket, and I want you to be there. I said, what time does it start? She said, 8:30.
Yeah, I thought I heard you saying a little something about that earlier.
I said, well, I'm doing a show. She said, well, yeah, but guess what? I bought you a ticket, and you better. Why do when your friends buy you stuff, they try to run your life once they buy you something? I didn't know you was buying me a ticket.
I had no idea.
She bought me a ticket and said, you better be there tonight. I said, so that means when I get off the show, I got to run down. I think it's in Deep Ellum somewhere there. I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, she straight checked, because you texted me and said I have to leave directly after the show.
Yeah, she's like, I bought a ticket and I don't want my money to go to waste. So thank you for buying me a ticket. If you're watching, you know who you are. Yeah. I'm gonna keep my head in the door because I don't hang out that late, but I'm gonna try to make it tonight.
That's great, and it was really nice of her to invite you out.
Yeah, I get friends. They buy me stuff all the time. But I'm gonna head down there after the show. See what they talking about down somewhere in Deep Ellum. Those of you that want to know what Deep Ellum is in Dallas, Texas, because we are broadcasting live here in Dallas, Texas. New York, and the Mandy Towers in the studios on the 26th floor.
Yes, and we are so excited about tonight and our show.
Yeah, we got a great guest in the building tonight. We got Mr. Dave Evans. He has showed up. He's in the building.
He is in the building, sitting in the back of the studio.
Yes.
You ready for us, David Evans?
I'm ready.
Mr. Evans is ready to come up, but we can't come up because our producer ain't told us to take a break. So let's shout out to our producer, Miss T.
Shout out to Miss T.
Hi, Miss T. How are you doing this evening? How was your week? They can hear you. Just scream out. You had a blessed week?
I had a blessed week.
She had a blessed week also.
She did, didn't she?
Where are our other producers at?
MIA.
How do they get off?
Well, Jay Ross is actually online. She's online and she's watching the show because she's going to give us some valuable feedback.
How you doing, Jay? Hello.
Hi, Jay.
Where's the one that give me a hard time?
Miss Naya. No, Miss Naya is MIA.
Oh, she's in my mind to call her.
You need to call her.
Yes, because I haven't got a call from her all day.
Miss Naya is MIA, so shout out to Miss Naya wherever you are. If you're thinking and watching the show, Naya, we love you, but we need you to come to work, dear.
Yes, because I got your check. I bet you if I tell her I got her check,
she'll be here tonight. For the show ends, she will be here.
But we're ready to get this show.
We are ready to get this show started.
We're ready to talk to Mr. Dave, and why don't you tell us a little bit about Mr. Dave?
Oh, Lord, let me tell you. Okay, so I'm going to go into, Mr. Dave has an extremely long resume because he does a lot in the community. Okay. He's very faithful, and he fights for what he believes in, right?
Okay.
So I am going to go ahead and just give you guys a brief description of what it is that David Evans does.
Okay.
So he started working in the nonprofit arena in 2006 with the Texas Department of Agriculture Summer Foods Program.
Okay.
He works in the DFW area doing nonprofit home repairs with various organizations like Plano Housing Corporation,
right.
Green Stream Homes, and Habitat of Humanity, which is absolutely great, by the way.
Right.
He reinstated the Douglas Vision Committee in 2016, which is the nonprofit where he served as CEO and works various programs in the Douglas community. He is the chair for Collin County Juneteenth celebration and Black History Month celebration in Collin County. He is the founder of Men of Douglas. He was on the founding board of directors for Karen Hand's Ministry. He is currently the assistant precinct chair and the chair of Minority Outreach for Collin County Democratic Party.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not done yet. Done yet.
Okay.
He is the co-chair for the Housing Committee and the chair of the Education Committee for the Collin County NAACP.
Yep.
He is also described as a community advocate fighting for the residents and especially minorities in Collin County. We got to talk about this Collin County. He was on the advisory board for the Stimpson-Drake Park and open in the Douglas community, which is the first park named after African Americans in the city of Plano, who happened to be his great-great-great-grandfather.
That's awesome.
This is crazy awesome.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Mr. Dave Evans up. So those of you that's chimed in on Facebook Live, we're going to fade to black, but we'll be right back. Those of you on Blog Talk, y'all keep it locked. It's all
Keep it locked. Be ready to be live.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest our rights. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over. And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you. But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Oh, yes. It is the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show. I am E-Man, your producer. We are back in the building. We have the beautiful. She is the gifted. She's the talented. She's the gorgeous. I call her my little chocolate chip. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. Here's Mandy.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show. Once again, to our Facebook Live audience, we thank you. And also to our faithful listeners on Blog Talk Radio, we thank you. We're sitting here tonight with our special guest, David Evans. So if you guys did not hear me read David's bio, and it was only a portion of his bio, prior to break, I'm going to go ahead and read it again, okay? Yes. Because this man that's sitting to the right of me, he has done so much in the community, and we're truly grateful for him.
Yes.
We're grateful for what he's done. We're grateful for the hard work. He is truly a trailblazer, and we pay homage to those that went out before us, right?
Right.
All right, so David Evans started working in the nonprofit arena in 2006 with the Texas Department of Agriculture Summer Foods Program. He works in the DFW area doing nonprofit home repairs with various organizations like Plano Housing Corporation, Deep Stream Homes, and Habitat of Humanity. He reinstated the Douglas Vision Committee in 2016, which is a nonprofit where he served as CEO and works various programs in the Douglas community. He is the chair for the Collin County Juneteenth celebration and Black History Month celebration in Collin County. He is the founder of Men of Douglas. He was on the founding board of directors for Caring Hands Ministry. He is currently the assistant precinct chair and the chair of the minority outreach for the Collin County Democratic Party. He is the co-chair for the Housing Committee and the chair of the Education Committee for the Collin County NAACP. He is described as a community advocate fighting for the residents and especially minorities of Collin County. He was on the advisory board for the Stimpson-Drake Park that opened in the Douglas community, which is the first park named after African Americans in the city of Plano, who happened to be his great-great-great-grandfather.
Wow. Awesome.
Welcome, David.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for inviting me to be on the show tonight. and to just kind of talk about what I do.
Yes, and we know that's going to be easy for you because it is what you do, right?
Right, absolutely.
Right. So we're going to jump right in because we know you have a lot of information to spill out, and we have listeners. This is what they're here for.
Right, yes, absolutely.
So, David, can you just first start off telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, that bio right there kind of gave a little bit about what I do now, about who I am today,
yes.
Who I have been for the last several years, because with all of that, I just get submerged in what I do.
Yes.
So I just really enjoy what I do. I enjoy being a resource for people. I enjoy helping people. And that's just who I am. I didn't realize that for a long time. And it took me basically getting involved and just moving in certain things, in certain areas, in certain arenas. And I realized that I just have a passion for people, and I love people. And I love to be a resource, and I love to help people get to where they're going.
And that's something that you're known for. You're known for helping people.
Mm-hmm.
We always hear you out working events,
mm-hmm.
serving. You are
mm-hmm.
serving
mm-hmm.
by heart, right?
And I get so much enjoyment out of it. I really do. Even I never make a dime out of it. I enjoy the payment. Is just looking at the people's faces when you've provided a resource for them, when you've helped them in something that they needed help, with. And that's the payment. That's really the payment. You didn't mention that I'm a realtor. That's how I survive.
I need to mention that is a realtor,
right? But that's that kind of takes the back seat to everything else that I do. I told my mom last year. I said at the end of last year, I said, "Mom, I need to sell some houses because I got to buy a new truck." Mm-hmm. And all this stuff that I do in the community, that's not income. That's not income at all. So I have to basically sell some more houses so that I can go out and buy a new vehicle. Yes. So she was like, "Well, I guess you got to do what you got to do." I was like, "That's it."
That's it. That's it. Okay. Well, it's awesome that you're able to do as much as you do. Mm-hmm. It shows us and it tells us that it is your purpose in life. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of life purpose, mm-hmm. can you please tell us about the Douglas Vision?
So Douglas Visions is a nonprofit that was started in 1990 by my grandfather and some other elders of the Douglas community in Plano, Texas. The Douglas community in Plano, Texas is the first community in Plano, Texas and in Collin County. And it was former slave quarters, and then free slaves purchased or was given land in that community to settle there. My great-great-great-grandfathers, which is Mo Stimpson and Andy Drake, were the first two free slaves to settle in Plano and in Collin County. Hence the park being named after them, the Stimpson-Drake Park in Plano, in the Douglas community, several years back. But at any rate, the Douglas Visions was a nonprofit started to help the residents of Douglas with home repairs. Okay. Shortly thereafter, in 1994, the city of Plano started their own nonprofit, which is Plano Housing Corporation, which they no longer control. That was given off to some individuals to create the distance, so that there would be no favoritism when they have to give out the grants and all of that. But Douglas Vision, so at that time when Plano Housing Corporation started, Douglas Visions basically became a sports league or a sports team nonprofit to help the youth in the community get to the games, get uniforms, go to championships and all of that stuff. Well, it basically went dormant for several years. And I was working in nonprofit and working with other nonprofits, and I just basically needed control of what I was doing, just because when you rely on somebody else to get something else done, they don't necessarily see the urgency and what you need things for, so therefore you miss deadlines. So I needed to get another nonprofit, or basically start another nonprofit, and I was referred to a guy that had Douglas Visions. And so when I called him, I said, okay, well, I need to see if I can work with you under Douglas Visions, or, work it. And he said, what's your name again? I told him my name. He said, oh, is your mother Eleanor Evans? I said, yeah. And he said, oh, well, you can have it. He said it was y'all's to begin with. It was your grandfather and other men of the community that had started it. And, you can have it. I'm not doing anything with it. I was like, oh, my God, this is a, 25, 26-year-old, organization. And I didn't really get the impact of it at that time until actually after I got it reinstated through the state of Texas and Secretary of State and IRS and all that. That basically it's legacy. The nonprofit is legacy, and it costs a little bit more money to get it reinstated than it would to start a new nonprofit. Yes. But the legacy of it really meant I didn't really get that until after everything was reinstated, and that really just kind of really gave me the purpose for it, more purpose than I had before. Let me say that, because everything comes into play for a reason, yes. And that was really touching to me. That my grandfather was a part of this, and here I am back with it. Because my grandfather helped raise me, and he instilled a lot of things in me that keep coming out. They keep coming out. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Did I explain what you wanted to know?
You did. You gave us a lot of background in regards to the Douglas Vision.
But so Douglas Vision, we do home repairs.
Home repairs.
We went back into home repairs.
Okay.
And it's throughout DFW, actually throughout Texas. And we are actually even thinking about starting a branch in Arkansas. Actually working on starting a branch in Arkansas. So it's home repairs. It's feeding, because we I believe in collaborations. Because you cannot do everything that needs to be done within one organization a lot of times. You understand? So you have to collaborate with other organizations, like you mentioned, Green Extreme Homes and Plano Housing Corporation and Habitat. Mm-hmm. Those are resources that we all get together and we pool our resources. And where I don't have something, or where they don't have something, I have or they have, and we basically pool it together and we get it done.
Okay.
What are you gonna say?
Okay. No, I was listening to you. Mm-hmm. So you do a lot and you're connected with different organizations.
Right.
Do you have understudies, mentees, students under you that you're teaching to go out and make these partnerships?
Mm-hmm. So I do as much as I can, mm-hmm. And you can only give a person what they want to receive.
That's true.
So, I don't have like a group that I meet with every week or on a regular basis, but I do have young men and young women within the community and within the area that when I'm having something, they are right there. They're right there to help. They're right there to pitch in and to do what needs to be done. They ask me questions. I provide them with answers, yes. Hopefully with wisdom. And that's really it's hard to do, because you find so many young people that are not interested in what's going on and what needs to happen in order to carry on. We started a new event that we partnered with. It's called Tools for Technology, mm-hmm. where we basically mentor. Basically, we have construction trades come out. And they basically come out and they display what they do, because every child is not going to go to college.
That's right.
Okay, so we have the construction trades come out. There's HVAC, plumbing, electricians, all kinds of, anything that you need within construction. They come out, they talk to the kids, they display, what they do. They let the kids come out and walk through their vans and walk through their trucks, and they show them exactly what they do. Mm-hmm. And they also show them the importance of basic skills like math. Even though they're in school, and we have kids there from ages 5 to 15.
Ages 5 to 15.
Yes, ages 5 to 15. The last event that we had, we do it once a quarter.
Okay.
And so the last one that we had was right before Christmas, because we paired it with Toys for Tots.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, exactly. So we have the kids come out, and basically they come in and they learn different skills, and it kind of piques them, or basically piques their interest in those things. Okay. To basically show them you may not go to college, but you have the opportunity to make a good living for yourself.
Yes. So if a teen or a parent wanted to contact you or your organization, mm-hmm. so that their child can be connected, how would they contact you?
They could contact me directly. My cell phone, my cell phone number is 784-0008, or my email is devans, E-V-A-N-S, at Douglas, D-O-U-G-L-A-S-S, visions, VISIONS.com. So that's devans@douglasvisions.com.
Okay. Hopefully, guys, somebody reach out to David. David has a lot of resources, and that he is not able to help you with, he is affiliated with other organizations, so he can point you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right.
And back to that question that you asked me about the mentees.
Okay.
So when I mentioned Arkansas earlier, there's a group of young individuals, men and women, that really want to do this. And actually, they're in Arkansas, they're in North Carolina, and South Carolina. So basically, we're trying to put a model together to basically show them, okay, this is how you can make an impact in your community. Because one of the things that I'm also doing is we're ready to do a community garden. Okay. So the community garden is going to be an organic community garden as well, and it'll be basically it'll be raised beds so that your seniors can come out and participate as well. So it'll be different beds will basically focus on different illnesses or diseases that we have within the community. So it'll be vegetables that basically speak to diabetes, that will help with the insulin, with your body producing insulin naturally. It'll be another bed for high blood pressure, things that are chronic within our communities.
Where did that vision come from? Where was that ideal birth from? That is so brilliant.
Growing up, my grandfather always had a garden. Okay. And all of our neighbors always had gardens. And we have moved so far away from that. And, growing up, my grandfathers and not just my grandfathers, but our neighbors did not have these diseases like we do today. Yes. You understand the diabetes and high blood pressure and all these other, fibromyalgias and all this inflammation, that we have within ourselves, and it's a reason why we didn't have those things, because we basically had gardens that we ate from. And even when we did not eat from them when we went to the grocery store, these vegetables were not pumped with all these steroids. So true. So basically the idea came from, let's get back to our roots. Let's get back to our roots. Let's create some community gardens so that everybody can come. Because now fruits and vegetables are kind of expensive, especially organic. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that everybody can at least have an opportunity, to eat in a more healthy and eat, organic or eat steroid-free as much as possible, and they can afford it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the idea came from. Really was that, was basically trying to get us back on a path of health and wellness. I'm not even going to go into that.
It's certainly a brilliant idea. It's brilliant, and I honestly feel that a lot of people will gravitate to that, especially if they want to be educated.
Absolutely.
Brilliant idea.
Absolutely.
That may be expanded.
Okay.
Meaning somebody else is going to do it too, which is awesome. Yeah. Because that's why we launch things, right? Mm-hmm. And you're a trailblazer, you know that.
Well, thank you.
So I'm going to move on a little bit, because you have so much that you've done in the community. Uh-huh. Now we know that you are a part of the NAACP.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we've heard of the NAACP. A lot of us are aware of the NAACP, but we do have people that are unaware, and our millennials, a lot of them, they don't know exactly what it is that the NAACP does. Right. They don't know what it stands for. So can you please explain that to us?
So the NAACP is an organization. We used to see it out on the forefront a lot, and basically it had a really big following because, the Rosa Parks sitting on the bus came out of NAACP. Martin Luther King's whole civil rights movement, started the NAACP. So now we don't have those big issues like that, or those big causes per se, because everything is somewhat watered down in social media, through social media. So what we still do is basically we go and we fight causes within our local governments, like all the police shootings and the police brutalities and all of that. You have, the NAACP is there, right there, front and center, but a lot of people don't know it. Wherever there's a police shooting, the NAACP, there's a chapter there. They're going to show up, and they're going to fight for a cause. I have this thing on that says, when we fight, we win. That's our motto this year for the NAACP. Okay. Because when we fight, we win, this bracelet. So here recently, like to give you an example, in Collin County, we had an incident. Well, not an incident per se, but they were going to hire a police chief that we didn't agree with in Plano. And so we were like, okay, this is not a good fit for the city of Plano. So our local chapter president wrote a letter, sent an email to the city manager and to the powers that be and said, hey, before y'all do this, we need to sit down and talk. So she and I went to this meeting with the city manager and the assistant city manager and said, hey, this is not going to work. This guy has a record that's not good for African Americans or people of color. So we want to make sure that, you all know who he is and what he has done, what has happened under his watch, because he was a chief somewhere else. So they listened to us. They really did when we sent those things over, when we showed them our concerns. And they basically scrapped that whole hiring process and they started over.
Okay.
And then at that point, I was appointed as a panelist for the citizens to hire the new police chief, which we have done, and he is an African American police chief, and we're so very pleased with it because he was previously within the department. But my point is that had it not been for us going forward, the NAACP going forward and saying, hey, no, wait, stop, pump your brakes, this ain't right. Then that process would have just continued to go on, and that other chief would have been hired, and then we would have been looking at, hopefully not. Maybe we may have been looking at other situations.
Okay.
So that's what we do. We fight behind the scenes per se. We don't make a big deal out of it because it's no need.
Yes.
As long as we're effective, that's what's most important.
Well, with the NAACP and with our youth that are coming up now, and not being properly educated. I prior to this interview, I went out and I had the opportunity to speak with our youth, and these were ages under 18. And when I mentioned the NAACP, I heard words like, and we know this is not true, but I'm going to let you explain this. I heard words like racist, pro-black. Of course, we know we love our people. Pro-black, we heard community of their own. Can you speak on those things?
Okay. Hold that thought, because we got to take a break. We're 2 minutes over. We're going to take a break, and Dave may answer that question when we come back. It is the All New Man and the Mentor Show. I am E-Man, your producer. Those of you on Facebook Live, we get ready to fade to back, and we'll be right back with Dave and his answer right after this.
Keep it locked on the All New Man and the Mentor Show.
Mentor Show. I am E-Man, your producer. And in the building, we have the man of the hour, Mr. Dave Evans. And we have the great host of this show. She's Amanda. I call her Mandy, the chocolate chip. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Let's go back in.
Let's go back in.
Here's Mandy.
All right. So we're just going to jump back in because we have less time than we had before break, right? So, prior to our break, David, I asked you about the stigma with the NAACP and the young adults. It's their understanding that they haven't been properly educated. Some young adults feel that the NAACP, they're out to fight against the whites, right? Some feel that it's just they're a community of their own and that they only support African Americans. So could you tap in on that?
Right. So the NAACP, first of all, it's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Okay? That's not black, that's colored.
Yes.
So basically, that organization was birthed out of the civil rights era. So where people of color were discriminated against, where they did not have a voice, they did not have assimilation to go and fight a cause, hence the NAACP was birthed. So that there was assimilation to go out and speak up for those rights of those individuals that had been, done wrong or that had been victimized in some sort of fashion. Okay? So the youth of today, of course, they don't know what that means because they probably have not been educated on it.
Yes.
And I would encourage them and invite them to basically do some research on the organization and really look at what's been done here in the 2020 year. Because what was done back in, the 1960s and the 70s and all of that, that's kind of what they're known for, per se. But that just got them their foundation of who they are and what the fight was at the time.
Yes.
But the fight has changed so much now here today. We have members that basically are being discriminated against in corporate America.
Yes.
It's not just police brutality. It's not somebody being hit upside the head. It's basically being treated or mistreated on their jobs. Where their livelihoods come from. So basically, we take up causes like that where we'll go in and speak to the employers that on behalf of these individuals. And again, it's colored, not just black. It's anybody of color.
Yes.
So we'll go in and speak up on their behalf and basically get resolution for them. You know what I'm saying? And if not resolution, get them in a situation that they can move on in a good way. You know what I'm saying? And not miss out on paying any bills and all the rest of it. That's our goal. It's basically to make sure that everyone is represented and they're just not out there by themselves trying to figure it out. They can call us and say, hey, this is what happened to me on my job. Or this is what happened to me while I was walking down the sidewalk, walking down the trail in the city of Frisco, per se. I saw all this graffiti out there and the city hadn't come out and removed it. Well, then we on the phone calling the city, hey, come remove this graffiti.
Yes.
What are y'all doing? What you waiting for? Nobody needs to see this, especially when it's something toward or a racist remark, per se. Now, the NAACP, they get the bag as being racist against whites. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's basically protection from all. Not necessarily, we're trying to protect people that are vulnerable and in vulnerable situations, and their rights have not been, honored and protected, per se. Then that's where we come in and take up the fight, or basically take up the cause and try to get resolution for those individuals.
Oh, thank you for that. Somebody needed to hear that.
Okay.
So what do you think it would take to get our young people involved? Our young colored, colored children or adolescents involved in, different campaigns that the NAACP have. The outreach, community outreach, this is a broad question.
Right, absolutely. So, honestly, the youth of today, they're not being educated because their parents, that generation right above them, which is their parents, there was really starting to be no visual or no real situation that their parents needed the NAACP for, because we're all under this whole belief that things had gotten better, and we had arrived, and we no longer needed, to fight a cause like that, because, we're living good now. You know what I'm saying? We can go, and we have more college-educated individuals than we had in the previous generation. So we got better jobs. Well, now the youth of today, they don't realize, and I don't know if, with this whole new era,
you can say it.
We're completely authentic here at the All New Leaders Mentor Show.
With this whole new era, they've taken their sheets off. You know what I'm saying? And they've taken those masks off. And let me just say this. It's not just white people that are prejudiced against black people. We can be prejudiced against ourselves. Yes. And we can discriminate against ourselves, even in the workplace and in positions of power, just because we have a preconceived notion that this is how they are, and this is because of some fears that we have, and some inconsistencies within ourselves, within our own lives.
Right.
And so we get in those positions of power, and we really don't have a clear vision or discernment to see what's really going on, and we just make up our minds that this is what it is, and this is how I'm going to judge it, so I'm going to discriminate against this person, and this is a person of color, and I'm a person of color. So we need to basically make sure that that the youth, because a lot of times they don't really reach out to us until there's something wrong, something that's happened with them. And that's a sad place to be. You know what I'm saying? Come before them. Come and be active so that you can recognize, what is going on around you. You know what I'm saying? And how you're being treated, and how you may not be treated fairly, per se, in situations. And you're thinking, oh, okay, well, it's just not my time. Well, no, it's not your time, because that person that made that decision basically had some biases against you. They have biases, and people, there are a lot of unknown biases, you know what I'm saying? And now we see a lot of, now with this whole new era that we're living in now since 2016, basically there's a lot of diversity and inclusion workshops, that people are having. Well, diversity and inclusion started with the NAACP, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because diversity means, okay, I got an invitation to the party. But inclusion is, did anybody ask me to dance? Pretty much. So basically what that means is that, we got the job. We got a job, at IBM or at, at Toyota. But are we going to get moved up? Are we going to get promoted fairly? Based on our skills and based on our experiences, are we going to, and I'm not saying that either one of those organizations or those companies are like that, I'm just using them as examples. So we need to make sure that we are educated and that we are aware of what's going on around us at all times, especially our youth. And even now they're trying to do away with, what is it, the word that I'm thinking of, it's, people call it a token. You get affirmative action. Okay. Affirmative action, even getting into colleges. You know what I'm saying? Even getting into these Ivy League colleges that, a lot of these kids want to get into. They're trying to get rid of those policies. Well, then how are they going to get into them? You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. Then there's going to be a whole different, set of requirements, per se, for them to qualify to get admitted into these institutions. So, our youth of today, they have a responsibility to fix, because it ain't over. It's not over just because it looks like it's over and everybody's treated fairly. No. We realize that they're not. And we can look at the news and we can look at TV every single day and realize, okay, there are some disparities going on within every community within the United States of America.
So true. So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
And this would be to our youth. And that youth, we're going to say under 25. How we should handle these situations. Now, we know that people of another color can be racist, and we can be racist against ourselves, right? So going from
you're saying white folk,
that's exactly what we're saying, producer.
White folk can be prejudiced for sure.
It's true. But let me ask you this:
Mm-hmm.
So, coming from Martin Luther King, Father, forgive them for they not know what they do, and looking at Malcolm X and eye for an eye, how should we conduct ourselves in those situations?
Well, with me it's a little bit of both. But the proper answer is basically to forgive. Because a lot of times is that, and when I say it's a little bit of both with me, I was just kidding. Because what happens is that when we start trying to get revenge ourselves, or basically trying to handle situations within ourselves, that's where the stress comes in, and that's where we start to trip up and make mistakes and and cause errors within our own lives. And karma used to take a long time. I'm a firm believer in karma. Karma shows up real quick and in a hurry these days.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You turn around and look, baby, it's something going on with that person that basically did something towards you. If you just hold your peace. I wear this bracelet. And it says, "Be still and know that I am God." And basically, that is my mantra. Whenever there's a situation that I'm going through, just be still and know that I'm God. And it always works out. It always works itself out. And the thing is this: a lot of times we have to realize that God's rejection is God's protection.
Come on now.
So when we get in certain situations and we're not welcome there, we ain't supposed to be there. And we're not supposed to be there just for our protection, because God has something much better in store for us. On the other, if we just wait and turn the corner, there's so much better in store for us right there. Exactly. Yeah, just turn the corner, just let them have all of that, and we good. We're gonna be good.
I am a firm believer in detours. Thank you for that, David.
So with that being said, let's take a call. We have a call on Blog Talk.
Oh, we have a caller. All right.
Let's see what the caller has to say. They want to talk to Dave. Last four numbers 0131. Hello, caller. Last four numbers 0131. Hello, who is this? Hello? Who is this? Where you calling from?
This is Carter.
Hi, Carter. How are you?
Carter. I'm doing well.
Okay, you on with Mandy?
Hi,
Dave.
Carter.
Hello, Carter.
You have a question for Dave?
Yes, I really didn't hear as much as I wanted to about talking about diversity. I just wanted to get a little brief summary of what he was saying. I really couldn't hear as much as I wanted to.
So basically, what I was saying was, here lately with this last administration in office, you've had all of these new workshops with diversity and inclusion that are needed, just because now there is a showing that shows us that we have a lot of diversity, but we don't have the inclusion. Meaning that you can go to different workplaces or different situations or different organizations, and they'll have, a mixture of cultures, but they don't necessarily have the inclusion of the cultures, because some of them are still working in the warehouse, whereas a lot of them are working in the corporate office. So they meet the requirements for diversity, but not necessarily the inclusion in every department, in the senior levels of the organizations or of the companies. So that's what I mean by inclusion, diversity and inclusion. And a get around for inclusion in a lot of corporations is if you have women per se. That's a class that basically they can say, well, we have the inclusion. Well, do you have people of color? How many? And you may have one, but how many do you have according to the overall percentages of what your staff looks like, what your employment looks like, or the community that you're serving? What does that look like?
Did I answer your question, Carter?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for calling our new Mandy Mentor Show. You keep listening, okay?
Thank you, Carter.
Yes, guys. Keep talking.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so awesome, so awesome. We welcome all of our callers. If you guys have a question or a comment for Dave, please give us a call at 563-999-3533. All right.
563-999-3533. We got to take another break because we're getting ready to wrap this show up.
We are getting ready to wrap up, so keep it live here. Keep it locked here on the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show.
We'll be back right after this. We'll fade it back. We'll be right back. It's the all-new Mandy the Mentor Show. all new Mandy the Mentor Show. I am Mandy, the producer. In the building, we have Mr. Dave Evans, and sitting next to him is the host of this show. Here she is. Here's Mandy.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So we have 7 minutes before we're off air, and David, we thank you for joining us tonight. We thank you for being very informative and being open with us and just educating us, on things that are going on in the community, how we can stand for what we believe. Telling us about the NAACP. Share with us the tools and technology program for youth under the Douglas Vision. Okay, so I have one last question for you, and I'm going to wrap it up. And we also want to know how to contact you. But the question I have for you is, what would you say to the young adult about the importance of community advocacy?
I would first start off by saying, as a community and as individuals within communities, we have to make sure that we're healthy and that we're well. And a lot of our communities are food deserts. So that's one of the reasons why I want to get these gardens going in different communities. But as far as our youth, we're going to need them to take up, the mantle and fight, basically go and represent for the causes that are still near and dear to us. A lot of times they don't realize what's going on, and they don't see the biases that we experience, because they haven't experienced them. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I was raised in Plano, and the very first time that I experienced, a bias or profiling or racism, I went to the Little Rock, Arkansas, and I was working there for a construction company because I'm a construction project manager. And I was there, and I had to go to a red carpet event. Well, I went to this store that we have here in Dallas at the Galleria, Bill's. And so went into to Bill's there, and I was they started following me immediately. And I was like, what is going on? Yeah. And so I was like, what is going on with this? And he was so obvious, that I could tell that he was following me. And so, one of my colleagues came in because he was still in the car eating, and he says, well, did you find anything? I said, I really can't find anything because this man is following me around the store thinking I'm trying to steal something, and I'm really offended. But the only reason why I went ahead and purchased something there was because it was the only store that I could really find something at for the time that I needed it. It was like in a rush. But at any rate, that was my first time experiencing it, so I didn't think that it was real like that. I heard, I didn't experience the realness of it, let me say that, because I believed people and I trusted people when they said that they had experienced it, but it didn't hit home until after I experienced it. And most people are like that. Most people are like that. So the thing is that, and I hope that with our youth that they don't have to get that. I hope that they, and pray that they don't have to experience those things before they start taking up a cause. They need to look at what's going on around them and measure it and see how it affects them, their communities, their neighbors, their friends, their family, all of that. And basically to see what do I have to give that can basically head off some of these things. What can I do to make a difference? It's not, and a lot of times we've gotten into, it's just me, it's about me, it's me. Well, it's other people around you that it affects. And it affects your loved ones. It affects your friends, and I just want them to get involved and to see what's going on within their communities. And a lot of times, and let me say this, we have NAACP chapters everywhere. If not, there are the Divine Nine chapters everywhere. The alum chapters, alphas, omegas, deltas, AKAs, all of the Divine Nine, the sororities and the fraternities, and get involved with one of them, even if you haven't pledged. See what programs they have going on in your area and in your community, just so that you can be educated.
All right. Well, thank you for all your information. If there was one word to describe you, what would it be?
Advocacy.
Advocacy, perfect. And tell us how we can contact you.
David Evans at 214-784-0008. Email is devans, DEVANS, at Douglas, DOUGLASS, visions, VISIONS.com.
60 seconds. Thank you so much. Thank you once again for coming on to the show, giving your time and your efforts, and also educating us on the things that you do and the things that are going on in the community.
See how time flies when you're having fun?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us tonight on our
Thank you all for having me.
Mentor Show. We're glad to have you. We're going to have you back.
Oh, I'm looking
Just
forward
get started. We
I'm
just
looking
get
forward
started.
to it.
Because we need to know more about these organizations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, for those of you that are listening on Blog Talk and those of you that are watching Facebook Live, if you have questions, comments, if you would like to come on to the Mandy the Mentor Show, please contact us at mentormandy@aol.com. Once again, that's mentormandy@aol.com. We're here every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And if no one told you they love you, let us be the first one to tell you here at the Mandy the Mentor Show, we love you.
We love you.
We're out.
See you next time. Peace.